In a study that surveyed nearly 13,000 players across 12 countries, 71% felt that video games serve as a stress reliever, where 55% of them used it as a means to combat isolation, and 64% turned to games to help them face everyday challenges. Now obviously gaming cannot cure depression, stress or anxiety or anything like that, but it can help to relieve symptoms and even help you get through some things or even clear up your mind enough so that you can focus on what's important. With the prevalence of mental health issues in today's society, there is an increased challenge of finding effective and enjoyable coping mechanisms to help you get through. Like I said at the start, this is not a cure for mental health issues. If you do have any mental health issues, or you suffer from depression, stress or anxiety, it's always a good idea to see a medical professional. And whether you're already seeking professional help, these games can help to relieve some things, and I'll explain them as we go through each game. The first game on our list is Power Wash Simulator. The reason I've selected this game as the first one here is because Power Wash Simulator has a way of helping you to relax. This game has helped me through many stressful situations, just keeping my mind off of things and making me kind of focus on a task at hand rather than everything else going on in my life. And there have been times where I've struggled to sleep towards the evening, and I've played this game and it actually made me tired and settled me down enough for me to actually go to bed and sleep. It often helps to focus on something else when you have issues going on in your life or stresses and things that you have no control over. And this is one thing that Power Wash Simulator helps with, because it allows you to take control over one specific thing, and that's just cleaning an area. The game has several different places you can go to clean things, several different objects that you can clean, and upgrades and things for your power washer that allows you to kind of clean things faster by selecting different nozzles to clean a wider area all at once. Overall, it's a really good game, it's really good fun to play, and it does just kind of help you to focus on that job and that task at hand. Pressing that button, seeing where all the dirt is and just seeing what you can clear up kind of just helps you to focus on that one thing. The next game on our list is Forza Horizon 5. Now I know when you think about relaxing or trying to kind of just keep your mind off things, a racing game isn't necessarily what you think of. But with Forza Horizon 5, you actually have the ability to just drive around. And that's what makes this game great for stress relief. You can just drive around the city roads or even country roads, you can go through fields, and you can just drive as much as you like, listening to music or even just the engine sounds. It's a game that lets you kind of just forget about things. Just go through driving, doing what you want to do without really having to think about anything. And this can definitely help when you're just focusing on one thing that's bothering you and you just can't do anything about it. More often than not, when it comes to being stressed out, you will end up stressing about things that are not in your control. My way of living life is to generally think, well, if you don't have control over it, why think about it? Just leave it, put it in the back for a while and figure it out later on. But if you have no control over that thing at that time and you can't do anything about it, what's the point on stressing about it? Before we get into the next game, I need to just talk about a few things just so that you can understand where I'm coming from on this and why I know about it. For about 15 years, I've suffered very, very badly from anxiety. I have something called agoraphobia, which means I have issues with going outside essentially and being out in large open spaces with a lot of people around. This has had very bad effects on me in the past. There was a time where I couldn't even go outside. And after many years, I managed to train myself to be able to go outside even for short periods of time. I don't want to bore you all at once with my story and things like that, so we'll talk about the next game and I'll go into a few other things after this next game. And the next game is Unpacking. This is a very simple game where you just have to unpack boxes in a house and place things in the right places where they belong, essentially. It really has a way of helping you to kind of focus on the task at hand, while also kind of seeing the story play out and seeing how people generally move through their lives. This can be a very helpful thing when it comes to suffering from things like depression, because a lot of the times with depression, you don't even know what's actually bothering you in the first place. Sometimes you have to clear out everything else in order to get down to the bottom of what the actual issue is that's causing that depression. And more often than not, it's something you never really think it would be. Focusing on unpacking boxes and placing things where they belong can actually put you in a mindset to help you realize that there are maybe things that you're thinking about that you shouldn't be, that you need to pack away for a little while and just move on, figuring out what things are not that important in order to get down to that important reason that is actually bothering you. And going on from that, like I said, I'll talk about my story a little bit more. I actually also suffered from depression for a good 20 years of my life. At first it was very mild. It didn't really have any effect on my life too much. It just kind of made me second guess myself quite often, and I kind of had a mild issue that bothered me that eventually started to calm down. Though later on in life I actually suffered from severe depression, and it was very bad, to the point that I don't want to go into too much detail, but I'm lucky that I'm still here today. It took a lot of time and several years of clearing out things, figuring out what the problems were in my life, and just basically throwing those things away. Not in a physical sense, but people in my life weren't necessarily the best for me, and I had to start clearing those people out of my life. Eventually, I got to the point where I figured out exactly who was causing that issue, and once that person was out of my life, I actually started to recover. The depression slowly went away, and I slowly found a way to move on with my life and actually be happy. And this is why Unpacking is a good game, because it can help to train you and kind of make you realize that sometimes you just have to move things, put them in the right place and just leave them there in order to figure out what the big issue is in your life that's causing the problems. Try not to go into too much detail because I don't want to make you depressed, but generally speaking, there is a lot that you can do using games like this to help you to focus on the task at hand. And speaking about the task at hand, Townscape is another game that can really help you kind of forget things. It's got a really good way of just, you put buildings down and you just build up an area. There's not really any full goal to this game. It's just kind of just do things as you want to, create things as you like, and essentially just end up creating things without even thinking about it. It's a really good game for relaxation because you don't really have to think too much when you create things, and sometimes you can come up with some really gnarly sort of designs, but generally it's just whatever happens, and you just let it go and just go with the flow. The next game is Little Kitty Big City. I actually did a review on this game not so long ago, and it's actually got this kind of charm there that just kind of allows you to mess around and just kind of not focus on too many things at once. And also, this game worked really well as a de-stressing tool for me, because you can just mess around, tripping people up, stealing their phones, and just doing goofy things basically. This is the kind of game where you can just put it on for 10-20 minutes, or at least plan to, and then 3 hours later you're still playing it because you just forgot about everything else you're supposed to do. Obviously don't forget about like important things like going to work or school, you know. But generally speaking, when you relax in the evening, putting on this game, just playing through, messing around, it can really keep your mind off a lot of things, and it does work really well for just relaxing you, especially when you get to like knock things over and break pots and stuff, which kind of helps with stress, you know. And also Untitled Goose game, which can actually help you with that sort of thing. You just kind of mess around, grabbing things from people, stealing their things, and you have to complete certain objectives, but they're not really things you have to work on too much. So the general idea is just to mess around, goof around, doing anything you want to. You just get to play as a goose, like honking at people and flapping your wings and running around doing silly things. This also is a multiplayer game, so you can play it 2-player with a friend. So if you do have anyone that you want to kind of really stress with and just mess around with, it can be a really good game to get on with friends and just have fun. Sometimes just forgetting about things can be a really good thing to do when you're stressed or kind of upset about things, or just generally life's getting you down, but sometimes it's good to focus on the task at hand and really work on something. And that's where Monument Valley comes in, because this is a charming little game that allows you to control a person, and you have to travel through these towers, but you get to rotate the towers or platforms, and it's kind of like a puzzle. But it's not too stressful, just as long as you realize that most things can kind of be turned, and you just have to kind of realize that the way that they've designed the game is that sometimes platforms move and sometimes the buildings themselves move, and it's just a game that allows you to kind of focus on these logical things that can kind of keep your mind off of everyday life and things that might be bothering you. Personally, I like puzzle games, and sometimes being able to sit down and just play a game of chess with someone can really help me just kind of keep my mind off of other things that are going on in my life. As you can imagine, I do YouTube videos, so it can be stressful editing things and even having to fit to certain like deadlines when it comes to getting videos out for games that have just released. And sometimes it's just good to just play something for fun. You know, Monument Valley is one of these games that I can just play for fun, though it obviously does have an end to the game. Eventually, once you complete it, you can't really replay it. Generally speaking, it's still quite a fun game to go through. But if you do want a game that has pretty much endless possibilities and just things that you can never run out doing, Minecraft is actually a really good game for stress relief. And I'm not talking about survival mode, don't worry about that. I'm talking about creative. Putting this game into creative mode, selecting whatever blocks you want and just being able to kind of dig out areas, destroy things, or even just build buildings themselves, it can actually help you to relieve stress and not really think about anything. You can plan out a building and you can really focus on that in order to build something that you really want to make, or you can just clear your mind and just let yourself build things without really planning it and just see what comes out at the end. There's literally endless possibilities in this game when it comes to just creating stuff. So if you don't like the stress of having to survive, eating food and keeping your health up, playing creative mode can be a really good way to relax you. It can be a really good way to kind of either, like I said, focus on one thing specifically, or just forget about things and just let things happen. Either way, it's a fun game to play. It's quite an old game, but generally speaking, there's just always something to do on it, so you can never really run out of things to do. Playing a game like Bugsnack can be a really good, fun game to kind of keep your mind focused on specific things. This game's not overly complicated. You just capture these bugs and you feed your friends with these bugs, and eventually you can kind of change the way they look. It's just a fun game. You just run around trying to capture these creatures and figure out how to get them. There's not a lot to it. It's not overly complicated, and just seeing some of the creatures that are in this game can just be really funny and just kind of help to cheer you up anyway. Seeing like a little spidery thing running around with like fries as its legs is just hilarious. But it is a really well made game and it is really fun to play, so it can definitely help you with keeping your mind off things and definitely help you to relax if you need to. Though you don't have to catch creatures, you can just walk around just looking at things and just exploring if you want to. And then we have my final game for relaxation, and that's Firewatch. Firewatch is a relatively relaxing game where you just have conversations with people in other towers. You know, you go through the story, you have to check areas to make sure that people are safe in the forest, and it's just generally a relaxing, calm game.
They're steely, cold hard stare.
Like a Siberian husky.
Sure.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Henry.
It's something that you can really get into to just kind of forget about the world, because you can delve into this whole new world and just kind of explore the things around you. It works really well as a relaxation game. I personally don't really want to go through all of the story in this game, because just sometimes just going in there and just walking around the tower, walking around the wooded area around the outside can just be enough to relax you on its own. As I said at the start of the video, these games are not designed to be cures for any kind of mental health issues, whether it's stress, depression or sadness. These games are just there for you to go onto if you want to just forget about things for a while, or if you just want to focus on one specific thing and just forget about all your other issues. Obviously, like I said, it's not a cure, so if you do have any issues with anxiety, sadness or depression, then it is always a good idea to try to find someone to talk to. If you do want to talk down in the comments, feel free to comment down below. You don't have to go into detail about things or any issues that you're going through, but it can help to talk to people in general. And obviously there's the option to go and seek professional help, whether it's seeing someone just to speak to them, seeing a counselor or something like that. There's always options out there for you if you need to get things off your chest. Hopefully these games help you out, and hopefully you have a really great day, and hopefully you can kind of get through any issues that you have and continue with your life in a good, positive way. Thank you for watching, and good luck to you.